The Daily Wire reportedly hired a bankruptcy attorney and laid off 25% of the staff. Well, we know where the views are going. Well, dude, genuinely, I can't handle, I really can't handle grown men pretending like they give a fuck about Disney movies. I can't. It's just too much for me. It's just too much for me. I just can't, dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh. Can you imagine Asmongold making a video on like Elsa on Frozen?
I am so value-tained right now.
Lizzie Crap, thank you. Oh my God. He would make one if they made her black. Yeah, because that would be woke, all right? I
rid of a lot of visas. They're kicking a bunch of people. This is nuts, man. They're getting rid of a lot of visas. They're kicking a bunch of people out.
So you got all these people coming to the country, taking away scholarships, different activities for Americans, but they're going on these college campuses and they're protests. We see linkages to Hamas. We see to other foreign governments as well. Marco Rubio has made the commitment that he's going to revoke their visa. He said that he's already revoked 300 plus visas. Here's the Secretary of State.
It might be more than 300 at this point. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
You're saying it could be more than 300?
We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
You're saying
That's it. It could be more than 300. Yeah. Holy
could be more
fuck.
than 300
Sure,
visas.
I hope. I mean, at some point, I hope we run out because we've gotten rid of all of them. But we're looking every day for these lunatics.
Right. And so everyone thinks Mahmoud Khalil. But when Mahmoud Khalil was tossed.
The lunatics in question, by the way, are peaceful protesters. Students protesting where the money that they pay to go to school, where that money goes, how their school spends that money.
The word came out to these Palestinian organizations, linked to Hamas or not, that the Americans are not going to tolerate the campus unrest, the takeover of buildings. What we saw at almost every Ivy League institution outside Princeton, well, I didn't really see much there. Now, not only is the campus is going to, the college is going to lose money, but they're going to lose people. Now, yesterday,
I'm Brian Kilmeade. To be on the right is to vice signal. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
Found out that we had one person self-deport from Colombia after Khalil was tossed out.
That's smart. Yep.
Sat down in Canada with Al Jazeera to talk about what she thought, why she left.
Oh, what a great home for her.
Uh-oh.
What did she say, Rachel?
She said the moment Mahmoud got arrested.
Oh my God. The Vox News pronunciation. Mode.
Brian Kilm.
Sorry. Mode. It's not that hard. I don't understand.
Her.
Uh-oh.
What did she say, Rachel?
She said the moment Mahmoud got arrested.
Mahmoud. Sorry. It's not relevant. I'm sorry.
It sent shockwaves across Colombia's community.
Yep.
He is a green card holder. That's when I realized I have no rights in this system at all. It was only a matter of time before they caught hold of me.
Exactly.
Rachel.
Man. Damn, that's just too bad.
This has inspired some disagreement between us. We normally agree on 90% of the issues, but you're worried about free speech.
I'm not. So first of all, I would never be a student in, say, Mexico City and go and protest their government. I'm just not interested. I think that's
exactly. We don't.
Yeah, because you're a baby bag bitch. What? Okay. You're a coward. Noted. Cool. I'm sorry that you don't care where your school spends their money. What? Okay.
We don't need foreign agitators. We don't need people that aren't even citizens in this country coming over here and starting trouble. This is common sense.
Chat, this is the thing that I need to grift, chat. I need to become a right-winger. I need to become a right-winger so bad, dude. I need to become one so bad. It's so easy. You just say the dumbest thing you can think of and then follow it with, that's just common sense. Never wash your dick. Let the cheese build up. Take that cheese, turn it into a starter, make some bread. You got your own bread. You got your own fresh sourdough bread. That's just common sense. Like, you can just say the stupidest things. You can say the stupidest things and follow them up with common sense. And you're good. And then you have cops listening to you and shooting wildly at cars. Oh my God.
We don't need these are foreign agitators. They're not even citizens here.
It's rude, and you're not being a good guest, so I'm with that.
Yeah.
I also don't believe in violence. You know, I'm a peace.
And the problem is that we're so many steps removed, right? Like, first you have to convince them, okay, they believe in so many things that are, one, in my opinion, wrong, and two, immoral. And even if you try and like concede all of these points and say, whatever, I don't care about fighting on these points, they won't even agree with you on like the basics of due process. So first of all, they won't agree with you that a genocide is happening. They fundamentally disagree that a genocide is happening because if they admit that a genocide is happening, then potentially people protesting it would be valid. Because if protesting a genocide is not valid, what is valid to protest? What could possibly be more valid to protest than a genocide? So first of all, they don't believe that a genocide is happening. They fundamentally don't believe it. Two, they don't believe that these people are peacefully protesting. They think that they're like breaking and smashing all the windows in Colombia or whatever. When in reality, much like many other protests, a small percent of them have some violence. I think with BLM, it was 7% of protests out of like the hundreds of protests were violent. And by violent, I mean there were, in some instances, known agitators. There's videos of like people who are very clearly not with BLM trying to flip over cars and trying to get other people to do it with them. And everyone else calls them out and says, what the fuck do you think you're doing? No, we are peacefully protesting. We are peacefully marching right now. Okay. And then there was also another group of people that was taking advantage of the chaos because guess what? Their material conditions are not met. And they were put in with the BLM protest. When in reality, I think all of us can agree that the people running into the Target or the Walmart and taking stuff, those people are not protesters. Those people are people that are taking advantage of a current civil unrest because their material conditions are not met, right? So, but even if we say, for just 1 second, we'll say, no, that didn't happen. They were all BLM. Every single one of the people were BLM. Okay, it still doesn't change the fact that 7% of the protests turned into some level of violence. Also, you have to talk about what level of violence, because it doesn't mean that the entire protest was violent. In a lot of instances, it means that the cops started tear gassing people and people responded, right? But we're not going to even get into that. Whatever, 7%. That still means that the vast majority of people were peacefully protesting. And that's the way that it is always with these things, because guess what? Is it a shocker that people who go to a school, who protest at a school, they want to keep going to that school? They don't want to destroy the school they're going to. They don't want to destroy the college that they currently attend. They want to protest against how their college spends their money. They want to receive some assurance from their university that they care about what they have to say. They're asking for things to change. They don't want to destroy the fucking buildings that they go to. They want to enjoy the school that they go to. They want to make the university better, which is like already on principle. Let me just say a couple things really. To talk about how universities, because this is another right-wing talking point, that universities just make everyone into woke libs that just do whatever the system tells them. And then we have clear instances of universities going head to head with students who disagree with them. Because guess what? You actually can learn critical thinking in schools. Not always, but you can. And then we're just going to ignore that completely and say, no, the schools just make you into this and you just listen to what they have to say. And there's no disagreement at all because it's communism. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Small percent have some level of violence, and it's an even smaller percent that's actually violence engaged in by the protesters. There were at least one instance I can think of a pro-Palestine rally, and I believe it was led by it was either led by a Palestinian woman or a Jewish woman. I can't recall. And there were people at that protest. It might have been in Australia. I'm forgetting. But there were people at the protest that started saying anti-Semitic things. And they were immediately called out and said, who the fuck are you people? Because you are not with us. Who are the agitators? Please, if you are agitating right now and you are trying to make this protest into something else, you are going to be ejected. You will be ejected from this protest. You are not welcome here. You will never be welcome here. And we will name and shame you and kick you out of this protest. Because I know, shocker, the protest is about freeing Palestinians, not anything else. 1 second. What is this? That's just common sense. Never wash your dick. Let the cheese build up. Take that cheese, turn it into a starter, make some bread. You got your own bread. You got your own fresh sourdough bread. That's just common sense. No, chat. No. My God. Same shirt. No, I'm not. Well, I guess I was wearing the same shirt in that clip that I am wearing now. And so the truth comes out, I am a fake socialist. Anyways, hopecore edit would go hard with that. No. Okay, sorry. Let me get back on topic so we can watch the rest of this video. First of all, Fundamentally, the protests, or like the vast majority of these protests, are peaceful protests. It is simply students marching, holding signs, saying what's on their mind, maybe using a megaphone. That is the extent of the violence of the encampments.
The rest of our lives trying to eat bread without imagining Dennis stick cheese. The rot mother strikes again.
No, not the rot mother. No. No. Okay, and then, so first you have to convince them that a genocide is happening, which they don't believe. Then you have to convince them that the encampments and these protests are not violent, which you won't be able to. And then you have to convince them that actually it doesn't matter if you are a citizen or not, you are still owed due process. You don't want to live in a world where tourists can come visit your country, and because they said the wrong thing on social media, they get detained. You don't want that. Americans have, for the longest period of time, made fun of the Middle East for that, and they've made fun of Russia for that, and they've made fun of China for that. And they look at those countries and they don't say, oh, well, it's their country, do what you're told. You know what they say? They say, those people are totalitarian fuckheads, and we should never be like that. Luckily, us Americans, we're civilized people. We're civilized people, and we believe in human rights. How many countries? 10 countries have issued travel warnings in the US? So anyways, you have to convince them that there's a genocide. You have to convince them that the protests are peaceful. You have to convince them that everyone should get due process. And then you have to convince them that if you don't give everyone due process, random citizens will be subject to getting thrown in a van, to getting black bagged and thrown in a van. And it doesn't matter if you say, no, I was literally born here. I have a passport. I have a birth certificate. First of all, wait, you carry that shit on you all the time? Second, you think that they wouldn't just say, that looks doctored to me. Get in the van. Then what are you going to do? You're going to fight? You're going to fight the ICE agents. How do you think that's going to pan out? How do you think it's going to pan out when you physically try and resist arrest? I don't even know if you can really call it arrest. It's detainment, I guess. What are we talking about here? What are we...
Nick, yeah. I don't think we should have violence, and I don't believe in terrorists. I don't want anyone here who has...
They came for education? Well, they should have learned not to go and start trouble. What do you mean?
Ah, yes, troublemakers.
They wouldn't do this if they're protesting in another country. It's only because it's Israel? I don't give a fuck about that.
What?
Why would I give a fuck about that?
They wouldn't protest about other countries. Well, are other countries committing genocides that are being funded by the United States? It's like fundamentally these people don't even understand the function of protesting. If your government is actively funding a genocide, it would make sense that you would want to protest that government. What is happening? What is going on? What is happening in this world? Operational discipline was damn near perfect in the encampments. They were super conscious of how anti-Semitism would be used against them. Being perfect doesn't matter. State apparatus has decided how they're going to frame it, and that's that. I don't believe that coping TikToker, the Humanist Report, showed you can't convince fascists. It's never been done. I'm not a doomer. I'm just saying that they can only be wholly defeated, not reasoned with. I mean, I think that you should attempt your best to educate people and explain to them that these are not good policies. This is why fundamentally people are dissatisfied with the Democrats and they think that the Democrats aren't doing enough, because instead of pushing back on these immigration policies and pushing back on the fact, the idea that immigration is a problem, they buy into the narrative and they say, yeah, no, well, Trump is right about the immigration stuff. We just don't think we should do what he's doing, which is insane, which is an insane political strategy. It is a crazy political strategy. Actually, the chatter said that they wouldn't deport the student if they were protesting about another country. Oh, I don't know if he misread it or I misheard it. It's funny that if that's what the chatter said, that was his response. I don't care about that. That's hilarious. That's really funny.
Real? They wouldn't do this if they're protesting in another country. It's only because it's Israel? I don't give a fuck about that.
I see, because my understanding of it was they wouldn't be protesting about other countries. They're doing it because it's Israel. But he could be saying they here is the ICE agents or the Trump administration wouldn't be doing this if it was about any other country other than Israel. And it's funny that he says he doesn't care because he doesn't have a response.
Why would I give a fuck about that? Yeah, I hope they do this for all of them. We don't need to have people come.
Not going to engage with like the actual premise of the conversation, which is, no, wait, you have to address the fact that this is only happening because of America's ties with Israel. And functionally, you might say, I hope they do this for all of them, but realistically, that's not going to happen. So we should focus on the actual issue. Oh my fucking God.
In from other countries, starting trouble, creating unrest in our country. Why the fuck are we bringing people in here that they're coming over here and protesting us? You're not even a fucking citizen. Get out. You don't like it? You want to protest? That's fine. Leave. That sounds like a great protest to me. Blocking schools is not protesting? Yeah, and that's another thing too. is we're trying to act like this wasn't some crazy ass shit.
Guys,
What crazy ass shit? They don't even have any. Sorry. At least when like the right wingers were pushing back against BLM, they had video footage of like, oh, won't someone think of the corporations, targets being looted. And it was like, they could point at that and say, look at the violence happening here. What do they even have to point at right now? I don't even understand what they're pointing at right now.
to Hamas. That said,
I'm a visual learner. What is this crazy ass shit?
I am concerned about free speech. I am a free speech absolute.
Blocking an entrance to somewhere is very normal protesting. Yes. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, are we pretending like picket lining is new? Are we pretending like the idea of like chaining yourself to something is new? Like, what you have to understand, for people on the right, for right-wing pundits, their goal is to make it so that every form of protest is immoral and unconscionable. Like, well, obviously, another military power can't target Israeli military bases because Israeli military bases have Israelis in them, and the state has mandatory conscription, or mandatory service rather. So you're basically killing a bunch of innocent people if you target a Israeli military base. Okay, we can't do that. Let's go along on this journey here. Oh, well, you also can't do any blockades because you're fundamentally hurting the people in Israel. Okay, you can't do that. Well, you also can't hurt weapons manufacturers because you're impacting all the people who work at that weapons manufacturing plant. Okay, we can't do that. Oh, well, you also can't like handcuff yourself or chain yourself to the entrance to a port because you're blocking people's ability to get to work to deliver these weapons. It's like, okay, you can't do that. What the fuck? And then what? You can't block buildings anymore? You can't even like block the entrance to a school anymore, which has been very standard practice for protesting for forever. What are we allowed to do against a genocide? Nothing? Is that the answer? Nothing. It's like, just hear yourself for a second. Pretend like a genocide is happening. If you can't imagine that there is one happening, if you don't think that there is one happening, what would be allowed to be done if a genocide was happening? If the Holocaust was happening right now, what would you be allowed to do? Because it sounds like the answer is nothing. It sounds like the answer is you're not allowed to do anything.
Ludus. And so I wonder, what is the criteria here? Should we be deporting?
No, nobody is. She not. If I was sitting here posting her home address and what school her kids went to, she'd want me arrested.
Well, that would be doxing. So yeah, the people blockading are not doing doxing.
Nope. There's a free speech absolutist is not true. It's not real.
Oh, he's talking about free speech. Oh my fucking God. Yeah, because when you talk about being a free speech absolutist, you're not necessarily saying that every single type of speech is free. You're saying that obviously things that are crimes that can cause harm are not protected under free speech. Free speech absolutists say that Nazis should still be able to say what they want to say. Crimes are not protected under free speech. No shit.
People who say criticize America and American policies. What's the line? Or is it only
premise brings up a fucking crime?
If you criticize Israeli government policy. So there are a lot of really good people right now who are very.
Asmon is the go, says Incel for Life. Dude, you're making him look bad. I just want you to know you're making him look bad. I just want you to know that if he's your goat, you should change your name. You should change your name. You're a dumb hoe. Who cares what you think? Oh, so you nothing to say? Nothing to say. No response? No response? To what again? I was busy fucking your mom. What are you, 12? But you're incel for life, dude. Is this fake fucking valor? Are you fucking kidding me? You're stealing real valor from incels? Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Sorry. I'm a real gangsta. Oh, white boy detected. I am a real gangsta. yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, God.
Concerned about the chilling effect this could have, not just on these green card holders and these people on visas, but what's the message to American citizens about free speech?
So this.
They still have it because they're citizens of the country and they have the right to the First Amendment.
And how do you protect those people? What, you tell them to show their passport? And then what happens when an ICE agent says, yeah, I don't think that that's a valid passport?
What do you mean? There's like, what? This is not like, what's the message? It's obvious you're a guest. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm a big fan of the two tiers. Okay. Like, we don't need to treat people that aren't citizens the same as we treat citizens. It's insane. It's crazy. It's even a conversation.
That wouldn't worry about American citizens.
Yeah.
It's not American.
It feels so weird, like, that I got to see in my lifetime the media call Middle Eastern countries and call Russia and call China backwards nations for not treating their tourists with respect and not giving them due process. And now we are cool with being that. Like, it's so insane to me.
I am a wheel gangster.
Absent, thank you. Thank you for the 47 months. I am in crazy town right now with the hypocrisy.
American citizens. These are people on student visas and green
agitators. Yeah,
people.
I don't care.
It's foreign political agitators. Imagine defending that. We already have enough domestic agitators. We got to import these people over here and educate them so they can start trouble? Fuck that.
Like, dude, the fucking dog whistle, the troublemaker dog whistle is just insane, dude. Like, Are
they connected to Hamas or are they just
How's that in the best interest of anybody that lives here? It's not.
Lawyer I talked to this week, who's representing 9 families, says there's direct linkages to Hamas that they posted this group October 6th. Get ready for October 7th. So there's no doubt about it. There's organizations here. There's also the hostages were saying that the Hamas hostage holders were bragging to them about their access to American students, the students in America, and that they were going to win the power of basically the publicity and marketing. They also tossed out somebody in Tufts University, caught this PhD student. They also threw out yesterday at Harvard, they threw out a Kasina Petrova, who's a Russian research associate, also with anti-American activities. You're over here.
A Russian researcher with anti-American activities, dude, give them a fucking seat in the cabinet. What the hell? They can sit right next to Tulsi. I mean, that doesn't sound so irrational. Sure, on its face, until you realize that they're petitioning that people should not have due process. But the problem is you cannot and should not ever want to remove due process, because that's how you end up with a papers, please situation. Oh, you're not actively carrying your passport? You're not actively carrying your birth certificate everywhere you go? Well, get in the van. Oh, you are carrying it? That looks fabricated to me. Get in the van. That tattoo you have, it looks very terroristy. It looks very gang-like. Get in the van. And then what do you do? Like, you have to understand that fascistic regimes don't just prop up overnight and start removing anyone who says anything that is against the status quo. Like, Putin did not create Russia as it is right now overnight. You set the stage for it. You manufacture consent for this. You manufacture consent for that. You manufacture consent for this. Until you're eventually at the point where there is no way to fight because you already agreed on all this other terrible shit. Without due process, you cannot prove that you are who you say you are.
You protested this country and our allies. Goodbye.
I would just say this, Rachel. I see your point. I see how it could be chilling. But I want chills to run down the spines of not only terrorists, but people that are residents here. You're a visitor here.
Exactly.
You don't have
exactly. I want that.
Yeah, that's a good way to have a country. Yes, you're right. You want anyone who visits here to be afraid. That's good.
Be afraid. Yeah, get the fuck out. Like, you're going to start trouble. You're going to come to a foreign country and start creating unrest in a foreign country. You better be fucking afraid. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like, it's just like, it's such a crazy thing. Well, how do you, like, whose benefit is it that you have a bunch of foreign agitators from other countries coming into your country to start trouble? It's nuts. Really? Like, what?
And so the logical conclusion is to remove due process.
What the fuck are you thinking?
Right. Be on your best behavior here. And what we're dealing with is people that don't love the country, people that have radical ties. And I think they're trying to use
radical ties. They haven't proven this, by the way.
Our laws
Why
against
is this
us.
frowned upon everywhere but America?
That's literally not true.
Because people here are dumb. That's the reason why.
At the time.
I
think what the Secretary of State is saying, look, I want to find visa violations. Many of these people have ties to foreign governments. They're trying to have dissent. They're trying to get us to be at each other's necks, at each other's necks as well. And so you have to send a message to the people that are visitors. Don't come in my house and spray paint on my wall.
Exactly, bro. Like, fucking exactly. It's that simple. Zionists control the media. Like, here's the thing. Like, people try to make this like some kind of Jew shit. Like,
that's crazy because it wasn't mentioned at all. Actually, Jewish people haven't been mentioned at all. You brought them up, which is weird that you brought them up.
Like I would say the same thing. Like, if you were in January 6th and you weren't a citizen, I would say you right now, you going back. You going back right now. Right away. You starting trouble? Nope. No reason for it.
I'm so sorry. There's something very funny about like, okay, I'm gonna be a little toxic. Okay, I'm gonna be a little toxic. Not buff white dudes when they code switch. That's just me. You going back right now? Oh my god, it's so 100%. Just for a bit toxic. Oh my god.
No reason for it. Right away. You start in trouble? Nope. No reason for it.
I like the idea that code switching would make you seem more hard. It's like, no, dude, you're the mold emperor, man. No one thinks you're hard. No one's scared of you. Double snap. I don't think so.
No, look, we have to deal with the.
I agree with that.
We have
red
the
in the
American
country?
citizens that are degenerates. We have to deal with them.
It needs
that is a
sanctions
part
if
of our
it is.
society. We don't have to deal with the visitors that are here, and I think that's what this
Exactly.
is.
You know,
Yeah,
when I was a child in a military brat growing up, I lived overseas almost exclusively. And when we went to the
I don't like how Brian Kilmeade is looking at the camera. Like she looks at him and he doesn't even break. He just
military brat growing up, I lived overseas almost exclusively. And when we went to the attended Department of
Somebody says you were a guest in a country. It's a privilege to be there, not a right. I agree. Giving people from other countries scholarships and visas to help out your country, bring others as benefit to our country. But don't be a threat and don't be a hindrance to the people in our country. It's just common sense. I know, bro. Like, I know it makes so much sense, but some people don't want to see it.
the threat in this context is that you go to a school that helps fund a genocide and you want to protest against that. That's the threat.
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah, exactly, right? I mean, fuck it. It's how do you not come up to that conclusion? I don't know what to say.
defense schools, and we had to take a class called Host Nation class, where we learned about the host nation and we learned how to be a guest, a proper guest in people's country. That is my primary concern with this. And the other concern I have is the thing you touched on, but which needs more attention to, which is the fact that our universities are prioritizing.
Zen, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Internal bleeding. Thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Koi, thank you for the 8 months. Thank you.
Foreign students because they pay full rate tuition, and a lot of these slots belong to American kids. How many valedictorian?
Yeah, no, this.
Guys, can I? Someone
is streaming.
Someone sent me. Apparently, H3 fans are mad that I have Hila's voice advertising that I'm streaming. And it's really funny because half the people are like, I hate that she shows her boobs. Oh, I hate it so much. It just makes me so mad. It just makes me so angry. And then the other half are like, well, Ethan Klein does this too. He uses other people's sound bites all the time. So I don't think that it's really a problem. It's really funny. I hate boobs so much. Let me know the link so I can be sure to avoid it. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Slowpoke Land, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Funny number. Thank you for the 5 gift subs as well. Thank you all so much for the support. I really appreciate it. All right.
This is true, too. Like, why the fuck are we bringing in foreign people if we have people in our country that can't go to school? Why are we bringing in some random fucking person from India if we have somebody from Indiana that can't figure out how to get into college?
Because they didn't do well on their SATs, because we've totally gutted public school education. So they can't get into good schools and B, get the scholarships to afford those good schools. That's why the kid from Indiana might be struggling. But you guys are the ones that want to vote for Trump, who wants to totally cut funding for the Department of Education. That's not us. Reverse DEI enjoyer as it's just like, I don't understand how you can hold this position and then not realize that you're also part of the group of people that want to cut public school funding, which is already just awful. I mean, public school teachers are already overworked and underpaid. And we're the party, like left-leaning people, are the group of people that want to make college free, and you don't want to do that. That would immediately get more American kids in schools. It would immediately happen. More Americans would be in university if it wasn't $1 billion. And if maybe your public education system didn't fail you.
What's the reason? It's for money? That's a stupid reason. That's a dumb reason. We give them money.
No. They qualify for particular scholarships because of their grades.
And aren't getting into these elite schools.
All of them.
Because
if they're white.
If they're white males. This is something, America is for Americans.
That's right.
And we need to prioritize that. So I think there's a lot to be said.
Yeah.
But let's also be careful, because we don't want to leave the impression on the world that we are not.
Didn't Asmon pay for his house with student loan money or something like that? 1, I don't know that that's relevant, but 2, I also can't confirm that statement. So I don't know.
free speech.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I mean,
I think that we should be for free speech, but not for random ass fucking people that they're not even citizens.
Here's the problem. You can't have one and not the other. You can't have due process for some people. Because guess what? It's the ICE agents that get to decide who gets the due process. That's not how free speech works. That's not how due process works.
Here. They're not even citizens. Yeah, it's crazy. I got no problem with free speech for citizens. Everybody knows that. But these people not citizens. They're foreign agitators. That's it.
Like, do the people who watch Asmongold, do you think Asmongold himself, do you think they look at like Nazi Germany, or they look at like authoritarian regimes and they think that like Hitler one day said, okay, that's it. No more free speech for anyone? Is that what they think happened? Do they think like just overnight, the person in power just said, and now we are become fascism. I decided yesterday I'm going to do this. There's not going to be any more free speech. I'm going to persecute the people I want to persecute, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this isn't even talking about the fact that even if you are a citizen in the United States, it doesn't even necessarily mean that you have the documents available. Like, how many Americans have passports? Let's see what Google says. 51% of Americans have passports. The easiest way to prove citizenship is with a passport. It's pretty convenient to carry around. Everybody can recognize it. Comes with enough documentation or like information. It comes with enough identifying information. And only half of Americans have their passports. I'm a pretty organized person. So I know where all of my documents are. I have a nice little binder. I've told you guys I think you should do one. You should get one as well. But I have a nice little binder, like zips up, and it has all my important documents in it. So, you know, if there's ever like a natural disaster or something, I can easily grab my most important documents. I can just grab my binder that has like my very important documents in it. And at least, sure, maybe I lose a lot of other stuff, but with my documents, we're good. Because it's not that you can't replace it, it's that replacing that stuff is really annoying and really difficult. What percentage of people don't even know where their fucking birth certificate is? Because I will tell you, I know a concerning amount of people that don't know where their birth certificate is. They're like, it's in my house somewhere, I think. Or maybe it's in my mom's house, or I don't know. I mean, I know I have it, but like, and I have a scanned version, but I know the scanned version isn't valid for government identifying purposes. Why do you hate me? Stop calling me. I'm sorry. But how many people even know where it is? Let's say that you have an agent that's like, okay, I'll go home with you. We'll prove your identity together. I'm a really nice ICE agent. And you fucking look over your entire place and you can't even find it, dude. I know a lot of people whose parents have lost those documents. Yeah. Like, as someone without a passport, I never planned to leave the country. I know a lot of people whose parents lost those documents too. I needed my birth certificate to get a real ID last year. And yeah, for the people asking about real IDs, I think it's only in a handful of states that real IDs can be used to prove citizenship. I'm trying to find like good, here it is. Okay. I don't know what this website is, but it's saying just off of a quick preliminary search, there's only 5 states that offer that you can use your real ID to serve as proof of identity and U.S. citizenship. And I think it says Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Vermont, and Washington. So your real ID isn't even valid to prove U.S. citizenship in most states in America. You need a passport card, a passport, or like a birth certificate.
We're for free speech, but abusing speech? Well, that's not it at all. So the government should make money, but not colleges? I feel like if a college has to operate in the best interest of the country, and then also if we're giving them a bunch of money, there has to be obviously stipulations with that. And like, so if you have a college that's receiving money from the government, well, the government is taking that money from the people. So when you are taking money from people and then you're reallocating it to groups, if those groups are not acting in the best interest of the people that you're taking the money from, I believe that you're engaging in something that's unethical, because you're taking people's money away from them and then you're investing their money in something that's not in their interest. It's that simple. And it's the same way that people can vote on this.
Isn't that literally the premise of protesting against a university? I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Let me go back. I'm sorry. Wait.
Money? There has to be obviously stipulations with that. And like, so if you have a college that's receiving money from the government, well, the government is taking that money from the people. So when you are taking money from
So the government is taking money from the people. When you are taking money
people,
from
and then
people,
you're reallocating it to groups.
and then you're reallocating it.
If those groups are not acting in the best interest of the people that you're taking the money from, I believe that you're engaging in something that's unethical. Because
he explained the purpose of the protest. He explained the purpose. He explained it perfectly. If you are going to a university and you pay money to go to that university, if you are a student at a university and you pay money to go to that university and you disagree with where that money goes, where effectively your money is going because you think that they're engaging in something unethical, you should be allowed to protest. He can say this sentence and not understand that that's literally the exact reason that the students are protesting, because it's just common sense.
you're taking people's money away from them, and then you're investing their money in something that's not in their interest. It's that simple. And it's the same way that people can vote on this with like anything. Like you have a representative government. Yeah, it's called an international studies program. I don't think we shouldn't have any of them, but the priority should be on American students. That's it. And that's the most important thing. Missed out on not abusing speech. Yeah, sure. And anyway, I'll read a few more of these. Why?
It's so funny because there's people in chat that are saying, well, then why are universities funding foreign powers?
Why should our taxes go to foreign students instead of our dumb students? Yeah, exactly, right? And I actually don't think that it's a bunch of these. I don't think that, like, there are probably a lot of people in the U.S. that are not stupid that end up not going to college. Like, I mean, a lot of these people that are in these protests, they're spray painting walls, they're busting out windows. Am I really supposed to think that this is the best and brightest of the whole world? Fuck no. And so I go and I see this, absolutely not. Like, I
already mentioned this, but like this is something that's a very inconvenient truth for right-wingers. Vast majority of protests are peaceful. Vast majority of protests are peaceful.
We have people like this at home. Yeah, just go to fucking Chicago. You can find somebody that busts out windows for a living. Put them in Colombia. We don't need to import somebody from India to do that. What are we talking about?
Famously, nothing else is happening in schools. Famously.
It's insane. I feel like we should be more selective. Yeah. The truth, the smartest people I knew growing up went into skilled trades. Well, I'm not sure about that, right? But I think that there's plenty smart people here. Would you cancel a green card if they were advocating or demonstrating for lower taxes, or is it support of terrorism?
It's so crazy because in this same video, he just called Americans dumb. And now he's saying that they're smart. A man who's never been in a city, ever. He's never left his house, dude. Classic racist using Chicago as an example. I mean, there's a reason that people bring up Chicago, and it's because it's an attempt to signal to your audience one very specific thing. But if you try and call them out on it, they'll accuse you of being bad faith and say, that's not what I was thinking. Why were you thinking of that? But they know why they're saying it. Have you ever thought about having him on stream to debate? No, he would never. The thing is, Asmongold is like content brained. He would never debate someone that has a smaller audience than he has. Because like what? He wins and then he gets to gloat to his audience, but like it doesn't increase his like channel size or anything. Like he doesn't gain anything, right? He doesn't gain any notoriety for it, right? Or he loses and then he looks like an idiot. I mean, he doesn't even want to debate Hassan. And Hassan, arguably, there is an audience to grow there, right? Because like debating Hassan and destroying him in the marketplace of ideas, like you could actually grow an audience there because people love hating Hassan on like YouTube, for example. But he's too afraid to debate Hassan. Why would he ever debate me? Can you imagine losing to a woman? That would be so embarrassing for him. It would be very embarrassing for him.
Are creating problems you don't agree with?
Imagine losing to a woman with only one shirt.
I think that if you do any crime in a country that you're not a citizen in, like, and I feel the same way about like these like streamers, like Nuisance streamers in Japan, is that if you do anything that's like beyond jaywalking, like let's say you steal something that's $1, immediate deportation. Immediate deportation. Nope, no reason to deal with that. Why? For $1, you get the fuck out. Elon's latest tweet, a scripted chance? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd have to go back. Yeah, maybe charge him with a crime first? Yeah, no, you'd have to figure it out. I think the discussion are these protests crimes? Well, I mean, like, I use it as an example of this, right?
How does he defend it? Wait.
So, like, in Columbia University, some of the protests were crimes because they were protesting inside of a building that they had been told to leave by the police. They had taken over a building.
It doesn't make it a crime.
They refused to leave the building.
Police telling you to do something doesn't make it a crime.
So if you
doesn't make doing that action a crime.
Part of that, and you were inside of that building, I think you need to go back.
The police don't make the laws. The police telling you to do something and you not doing it doesn't make it a crime. So, for example, there are instances where the police can ask you for identification, and there are instances where the police cannot ask you for identification. Them asking you repeatedly for identification without a reason for it, you don't have to show them your identification. You refusing to show them and saying, well, what reason do you have? Like, what is the probable cause or whatever for why you need to see my license, why you need to see my ID? Now, because cops are bloodthirsty, crazy people, I would recommend just showing it to them because it's not worth your life. But that doesn't make it a crime. If you are not being detained and there's no like reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime, you don't have to show any type of identification to an officer. So it would be like an officer, again, like a more clear-cut example, an officer showing up at your door without a warrant and saying, come on, let me in. You have to let me in. And you're saying, no, you don't have a warrant. No, you have to, and they try and open your door and you say no. It doesn't mean that just because the cop told you to do something, you not doing it is a crime. The cops don't make the rules. They enforce the rules. Now, depending on which building he's talking about, which is impossible to tell because I don't know that he knows the example he's talking about, cops getting students to stop doing something doesn't magically make it a crime. There have been lots of peaceful protests during the BLM movement where cops were attempting to blockade certain protests, even though they were legally given the right to protest on that street. And then they proceeded to tear gas these people for not complying, despite the fact that they didn't have a reason to be tear gassing to request them to stop engaging in X, Y, or Z behavior.
I think it's time for you to go back. Absolutely. And so that's it. They were trespassing. Yeah. And to me, it's that simple.
Again, this isn't true of every single protest and every single encampment. This just isn't true. It's not that simple because it's not that true of every single encampment and every single instance of this protesting, of these protests.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a crime to have a visa revoked. Yeah, exactly. You like those second and third wave effects of $1 policy too harsh and you stop normal people from coming over, the actual people you want? Why do we need somebody to come over to the country that's going to steal shit for $1?
Oh my God, he's incapable of engaging with this chatter. The chatter says, hey, okay, but here's the problem with having extreme punishments for small crimes. You're preventing good amounts of tourism. And then he's saying, well, why do I want someone who's going to come over so they can steal something? And it's like, that's not what he said. He said, you make people who wouldn't commit crimes afraid to visit because they don't want to get persecuted because they did something that was wrong that they didn't know was wrong. Like, let's say you jaywalk in a city and you didn't know you weren't supposed to jaywalk. I mean, a lot of states have weird laws. A lot of countries have weird laws that you maybe don't necessarily know the laws of. And it's like, why would I take the risk of going there, right? I mean, we literally have this American fucking Red Scare propaganda in our brain about China. The number of Americans that are too afraid to go to China because they're like, well, what if I say the wrong thing and then they arrest me? You are preventing tourism in a country when you have strict laws like that. And tourism is just generally kind of always good. But it's not just that simple.
Can you give me a universe where it's like America's really losing out for having a petty thief that gets
yes, tourist income.
Deported?
So, and this soft power as well. This is like, soft power is like a lost art for Americans. We've long since given up soft power. It's just like doesn't exist anymore. This is just like poli-sci 101. And we're just like a hard power country at this point. But the idea of soft power is that your country is so amazing and great in every single way that all the people who visit it love it so much that they want to adopt the policies you adopt and have a friendly association with you. That you can have a lot of control over the world and have a hegemonic hold over the world if you have enough soft power. US aid is a great example, right? Other nations might view us more favorably than they would have normally, and they might be more willing to do stuff for us or engage with us diplomatically because we help them in this way or this way or this way. And cultural victories are very, very powerful. I mean, why do you think it is that so many countries have English as a second language? You have a lot of power just through culture, but sure.
Talking about. You think we're going to have Albert Einstein come over here and, you know, he just happened to steal a pack of cigarettes and so now we're going to deport him and we can't make the atom bomb? What are you thinking? Really, what are you thinking?
Well, realistically, we're more likely to import Nazis to work on NASA, but sure.
What world do you fucking live in? It's the most retarded fucking shit I've ever...
I like that this hypothesis, or like this hypothetical, excuse me, is so absurd to him. That there are educated people in other countries that could help advance American imperialism, for lack of better words. Like that notion that there are billions of other people in other countries where education is actually good. But the idea that we would import these people is so absurd, that we would import people that are smarter than Americans. That's so absurd. Like, what?
Ever heard in my life.
Also, yeah, sorry, wait, it was so dumb, my brain didn't even process it. His whole premise is Americans aren't dumb, but then he uses Einstein, an immigrant, as an example. How do you fix this? How do you fix this? How do you fix this?
Well, honest people only, yeah, people are retarded. Like, yeah, that's not what he said. That's what he meant. Yeah, that's not what he said, but that's what he meant. Absolutely.
Guys, I don't think opening the schools is enough. Don't tell Mold Man that Elon Musk lied his way into the country. Oh my God, dude. There's just so many things. Okay. There's just so many things. Einstein was a socialist who didn't like how Israel was operating, so actually, yes, we would deport him under the current administration. Yeah, well, I don't believe you, okay, because it doesn't fit in my worldview. Did you think about that? I bet you didn't think about that, you fucking idiot. Yeah. I bet you didn't consider that. Man. Oh my God, dude.